everybody. This is Skia, or as some of you know me from a previous life, this is B-Boy Lovechilde. And this is just to say goodbye, Cellspace. So I guess I'll start at the beginning. I first heard of Cellspace, I want to say it was 2004 or 5. I don't quite remember, to be honest. I want to say 2004, I think it was. So I've been dancing for a couple of years, a few years. And a friend of mine told me that he heard there were workshops being taught in the city by some b-boys who we admired greatly, Machine and Profo. And he went a couple of times. I was resistant because I've always been leery of teachers, to be honest. I love to learn, but I've always been a little leery of who I was learning from, just because you never know who's teaching from an agenda, you know. So, but he wore me down, and these were guys who I admired greatly, like I said, so I had to see what it was all about. I was like, oh, fine, let me see what's going on. You know, so I went out there and went to a class taught by Machine. And the class was just covering the very basics, which I felt even then that I needed to really be taught, because I've never really been taught. It just kind of picked it up, you know how it is. But Machine recognized me, actually, which was very flattering, from some jams that I'd entered before. One in particular where I entered, and it was a jam thrown by Flex Slave. And I guess that was one of our very earliest jams. And one of the earlier rounds, I beat one of the guys from Flex, and he remembered that, and it was still very flattering to be treated like an equal by somebody who I just looked at like a champion, you know. And so he invited me and my friend to come practice at Cellspace, because it was like, well, you guys are more advanced in this class, obviously, and you guys want to come session. And we're like, yeah. So went there to Cellspace, and lo and behold, it wasn't just Machine there. It was all these people that I had admired since I started dancing, really, since I got a knowledge of the scene. You know, Machine was there, Profo, someone else who was an early and huge influence on me. I'd always go to jams, and he'd be judging, because in those days he judged everything, still does in the Bay. And I would lose, of course, because I was a whelp, and I would come to him after the jam, because this is the type of person I was. I'd be like, why did I lose? Like, what's going on? You know, and he'd always give me kind of advice, not like practical advice of like how to dance, but like theory, you know, about the approach and such. And so saw Profo there, and I was like, oh my God. And the rest of the Hound Dog Truckers, who, like I said, was a crew that at the time I just thought they were the coolest, you know. Bug-Eye Bandit, and Sisters of the Underground was there. Came to learn effectively that was their practice, you know. And my first jam was a jam thrown by Sisters of the Underground altogether, my first jam at all. So that was also pretty cool. So like I said, there's always people who I admired from the scene. And I guess looking back, I realize there's a saying, poetry is powerful emotion recollected in tranquility, which is just another way of saying that when you experience something, you know, you can't see the forest for the trees, you can't see the experience for the emotion, but then later on, you can capture that emotion because you're quiet, you can process it at a higher level, and it can become something great. And so looking back now, back then, it was like, oh my God, this is so cool. Now looking back, I'm like, what I felt was, it was like I was a young sapling who had looked down and discovered his own roots. You know, I saw the source that I'd been influenced by, and to a degree didn't even know it. Like I said, people who had shaped the scene that I came up in. And actually, on some level, I knew it then. But I mean, it was just so cool. It was where I always knew I wanted to practice, and I felt I found where I needed to be. And sure enough, through a session with them, through kind of exchanging ideas, through, you know, being given advice, through being a little competitive with people at Cellspace, all that came to be. And it was when I moved from kind of adolescence to manhood as an artist, and honestly kind of as a man, period. I was right around that age through most of the years when I was at Cellspace, from, you know, adolescent to manhood. And so a lot of my memories from that time in my life were at Cellspace, or at least with people who I hung out with at Cellspace, and people who, you know, came a little later. I mean, more rock force started kicking it there. Like eventually I got invited to join rock force at Cellspace. That jam, Stay on the Court, jam me, Miles, and Joey Grooms. I guess one of my most favorite memories there. Me, Miles, Stone, and Joey Grooms in that Stay on the Court jam. We lost, of course, but they always say it doesn't matter if you win or lose, it matters if you shine, you know. And so I think people really look back at the jam and remembered us, like we murdered it at the jam. We just, yeah, it was legit. So after that, Machine asked me to get down with Rock Force. He had been kind of the whole time like, yo, when you can get down, when you can get down, when you can get down. And finally, I think he was like, you need to get down with Rock Force. He was just like, let me tell you something, get down. So that was when I was like, all right, battle me in. And so there's another great memory there. I mean, wow, how many people get to rub shoulders with their heroes? I did at Cellspace. So, yeah, as the years went on, of course, I kind of, you might say my journey took me to a place where I wasn't really feeling b-boying the same way anymore. And so I stepped away, and you might say I am still stepped away from dancing. I'm still a b-boy. I mean, in my reptilian brain, you know, it's in me. I still can't sleep some nights because I think about moves. I think about it be breaking in my head. Cellspace, I guess, symbolizes all that to me. And now, looking back, when I first heard that Cellspace was closing down, I was out with some people who I met out here in North Dakota. My self-imposed exile from everything I know and love. And when I found out about it, I was just so dejected. They thought somebody must have died. And I had to explain to them what Cellspace was. And there was this cool moment where we all kind of went around the table. We're out at basically a bar and grill type place out here. And they also talking about places that closed down that they loved in their youth, you know, youth centers and stuff like that. And it's a universal, you know, that kind of grief. And so there was that. And there's also that crushing kind of guilt that one experiences when they lose something precious to them. The guilt that you didn't take every opportunity to appreciate it, to experience it to its fullest. You know, you lose a mother and you think the same way. Oh my God, I should have been a better son. And you lose a practice spot, a home, if you will, and you think I should have taken every opportunity I could have just roll around on the floor. You know what I mean? Just be there and experience, you know, the people there. And now it'll be gone soon enough. And so on the one hand, Cellspace to me, the sum of my memories is that Cellspace was that step from adolescence to manhood as an artist and as a sense as a person. And it's also a lot of regret. Like I said, that didn't come around more often. I didn't practice there more often. So that's life. That is life. That is life, isn't it? Much love to my Bay Area folks, to the Bay Area scene. Those of you who know me, I'll see you guys at the jam. Those of you who don't, I'll see you at the jam. You'll be biting my moves. So, just teasing. Love all you guys. Peace.